I just wanted to hop on the mic and say, I know the world been a little chaotic and everything. I just wanted to check and make sure everything good in the hood, like sure, you know what I mean? Say out to the fam. Okay, let's get to work. What up?
All right. What's going on? Beautiful party people. It's your boy, JusJrdn here with another A Moment with Jay. Oh, it has been a wild last couple of months. You know, well, you know what? First thing I'm going to start off with is I'm going to get rid of my gum here for a second. I'm going to talk about the fundraiser and stuff that we've been doing over the last few weeks and everything, but right now I got to talk about how much I hate bees. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Jay, aren't bees the most important living creature on Earth that keeps the whole ecosystem going? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. However, I'm very allergic. I'm allergic to wasps. I'm allergic to all these bees. I'm allergic. Wait, did I press record? Man, I'm always tripping out. I can't wait till I have a slightly better setup where I'm not tripping out on if I press record or not. Because I have, like I've said before, I have just been talking to a void before, and then I've been like, well, I guess we got to restart. But, anyways, I've been going on walks, man, and and it happened to me again yesterday. I was having such a lovely stroll. I was having such a good day yesterday. Things were just flowing and abundance was all around me. It was a gorgeous day. I was in a chilling mood. I was having a great day. Especially because a couple days prior to that, so yesterday was great, but the 48 hours leading up to that, I was just exhausted for some reason. And I think it was just because I was, finally done the fundraiser stuff. So my body was just like, chill, Jay. You need to fucking chill. I need to, that's another thing. I gotta watch my swearing. I think because, especially at the beginning of some of these podcasts, because my homie thinks that my views been going down because I've been cussing so much and the algorithms change. I'm jumping around too much. I'm jumping around. Having a great walk outside yesterday, and I was kind of on the last bit of my walk, and I go for some long walks, a couple hours a day. I try to go outside, especially because I know I don't want to even say the W word. Winter. It's around the corner. And, it's not as fun to do 3-hour walks outside when it's icy outside, man. So I'm getting it all in. Anyways, I kept getting harassed by these wasps and shit. I just said I wasn't going to swear. Anyways, it's going to come out. We're going to make it one way or another. Anyway, so I'm going for these walks in the last few days, last week or so. The bees and specifically the wasp have been so bad, and I feel like I don't know if it's the time of year, or I don't know. I don't know nothing about these things other than they're very not good for me, and they're one of the things in life that freak the shit out of me, man. I was just having this conversation with Bailey. Shout out Bailey. She bought me some flowers the other day, which was super nice. And I always forget how many things I'm allergic to until I have to tell somebody I'm allergic to something. You know, she was like, I don't know how we got onto it, but I was just like, yeah, this is a good time of year for me. The pollen settled down. There's no more snow mold. Obviously, those are things that kill me when it first becomes spring and the snow melts. Oh man, awful time of year for me. And then when everything starts to pollinate and there's pollen everywhere, another awful time of year for me. It's just hard to be outside. but I'm really allergic to bees, all kinds of bees and wasps. I got an allergy test. My mom took me when I was a kid, and they like, if you ever been to an allergy test, what they do is they prick you. I remember they just like, well, I believe it was on this side of my arm before I got a tattoo, and they would prick you with like a little toothpick kind of thing, and then they would drop one drop, and then they would write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I don't even know. It was my whole arm though, and they would test me for things, all different types of bees and wasps, and I think some fruits and stuff, pollen and stuff. Anyways, I super reacted. I remember this too. I reacted. I had all these hives and everything, and they're like, "Yeah, you're allergic to pretty much all the bees and wasps and some of this pollen stuff and blah 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 blah, killer bees and all this stuff." I was like, "Okay, great." And I'm standing there with my arm. It's super itching. They're like, "Okay, well, have a good day." And I was like, what?" And I remember that my mom had to like, "Can you give him something for the allergic reaction that you now have just caused him?" So anyways, I'm allergic to all kinds of things. So I've been on these walks, and bruh, I'm usually smoking a little bit on these things, on these walks and everything, but I'm not. People always staring at me, and I'm a white dude with dreadlocks. People always staring at me, anyways. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Before this hairstyle, I had an afro. People were staring at me then too. It's just the way it is. I'm used to people staring at me. However, there were these. I was walking down this path, and it's gorgeous. So everybody's outside. Um, and there's this group of like four younger girls, and there's like a group of young boys, and there's like apartment buildings, and everyone's kind of on their balconies, and there's like a row of people's back homes, and most of the people outside in the back. There's people on the path walking. There's people in the little sections of grass playing. There's people everywhere, and I'm walking through, you know strolling through, vibing out, and I start getting swarmed by these wasps. Like, and when I say swarm, I mean there's like 4 or 5. That's a swarm, right? How many is a swarm? 2 or 3. I would even say that's a swarm, because that's like an infiltrate. Like, they're like ganging up. Maybe it's a gang of bees. Maybe if it's not a swarm, it's just a little gang, a clique of bees. I remember, I remember in uh elementary school, we had like a dare program, but ours wasn't called dare. For some reason, it was called something else. But we had like a retired constable that come yell at us and say, "Don't do drugs will ruin our lives." And they would go up in front of our families. We were crying. We are like, "I'll never drink or do drugs." And then we get to high school, and everybody drinks and does drugs. you know what a weird thing to. I understand why anyways, I only bring that up because I remember specifically he was talking about that cliques are just mini gangs. And he's like, if you have a clique at school, that's just another term for a gang. And I remember he was like referring to, like, at that specific time, he was referring to, like, girls that like get together and have like, are more like preppy and stuff, into fashion and makeup, and really into it. And that's what they. It's like, that group of people, that clique is a gang. Now looking back at it, I was like, what the fuck was that guy talking about? Like, I don't know what the gangs well, I'm sure he's used to some crazy gangs, but I'm like, that I don't know if that's where it starts. I don't think the preppy white girls in a Catholic school are where most of the gang start. The cliques. I don't know if all cliques turn into gangs. I was just like, I don't know about this, man. I don't know about this. Anyways, sidebar. I'm walking through this field. I get swarmed by a gang of bees. And I'm freaking out because they're like, I remember one time when I had my afro. I remember one time I had my afro when I was a younger kid, and I had a big afro. And I remember we were outside, and I kept hearing this bzzz, bzzz, bzzz. I'm like, what the fuck? What is that bzzz? Like, what is that sound? And I go to like itch my head. Boom, stung by a bee. There was a bee trapped in my afro, and it stung me, and my whole hand swole up. I had to go to the emergency room, I think, or I have an EpiPen. I can't remember I just remember getting stung that way. I can remember all the times I got stung. I'm not going to list them out for you today. Maybe that'll be a different episode. I don't even know. Oh, I do have my notes for this story are fuck the wasps everywhere on walks. That's what this point is, to help me remember the story. Anyways, I've been stung lots of times. I hate them. I know they're important. I know that the bees are important. The wasps can go fuck themselves, man. Anywho, I'm on this walk, enjoying myself. Get confronted by a gang of bees, and I'm trying to play it cool because there's like all these people around me. So I'm like trying to like blow and like, and no one else can see that there's a bunch of bees around me either. So then and they're not going away. They're like swarming me. So then I'm like, ah, and then I start like punching the, because now I'm freaking out. Now I'm running and punching the air, and I'm just running and punching the air like, and I look around, and everybody is looking at me. Everybody is looking at me. Once I finally, punch a couple bees in the face and run away a little bit, I stop, kind of regain myself, fix my headphones, adjust myself, and I look around, and everybody staring at me. The little kids, the old people on their at their homes, everyone's staring at me, and I'm so embarrassed. I was like, I know ain't no one seen these little ass bees attacking me, and I just look like a crazy ass motherfucker just punching the air, and running. And then I just stop, gather myself, look around, and then I just freaking fast walk out of there, man. Oh, I didn't think I was going to tell that whole story, but we did. Fuck the bees, man. Fuck the bees. I was also going to say this, man. I was like, man, the podcast, the views been going down. The YouTube views been going down. Just in general, my YouTube views have been going down. My focus has been elsewhere, obviously running the fundraiser and everything, but I still put out a video every day and the podcast every week. And I was like, man, maybe I should just stop making these videos. Maybe I should stop making the podcast. And I was like, man, we've been through these dips before. We're gonna climb right back out. It's September. It's a new season. We coming back out of this. I'm putting more time and effort into these podcasts again. We finally got our guests lined up. It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna be doing some great things with the podcast and with the videos coming and the YouTube channel. And so I'm hyped, I'm excited, and I'm motivated to keep putting out this work, putting in this content. I like creating content, and I just got to find what the people want. And people have been giving me good feedback on the videos and what's changed and what I can do to and I love that. So we're going to be doing that. All right, so other than the bee story, one of the big things I wanted to talk about today was the fundraising. And the fundraiser was great. We saw, I think, as of today, which is a few days after September, because actually a couple people bought a couple more vinyls. If you don't know, I was doing a 8-week fundraiser to just try to raise some money. I'm a caregiver for my mom, who's suffers from a really shitty um, seizure disorder where she loses her memory, and it sucks. And so we're doing a fundraiser, and it was great, man. It's been so great, bro. And there's so many people messaged and was like, "Hey, man, I just there's something about this that's touching and amazing, and I want to help." And people who couldn't donate financially or buy the vinyl, man, shared the post. They're like, "Hey, I'm gonna send this to so and so at my company. Let's see if we can try to get a sponsor." And uh, it was just a beautiful, it was just such a beautiful thing. And I was thinking about this too. I was like, I don't necessarily like airing out all of my personal life on the internet. I mean, I do a lot. Don't get me wrong. I'm all about being authentic. A lot of my music is very authentic, very real. Podcast, very authentic, very real. Not 100% though. That's one thing. That's there's certain things like specific dates or specific people that sometimes I'll change their name or I'll change the date just because it's not a relative part to the story. And sometimes it's gotten me in trouble because people are like, "Oh, I thought you were doing this with that person on that day." It's like, bro, chill out. It's a podcast. It's not always 100%. It's like sometimes the stories just need to be adjusted for the internet. So it's like, you know, it's funny that the I'm a simple guy, but yeah, anyways, let's back to the fundraiser. The fundraiser was an incredible experience. We sold a couple dozen records, which was crazy. Yeah, I wanted to sell 300. That would have been a dream come true, miracle. I was just trying to get anything. I was just like, I just think there's always got to be a big goal, and the bigger the goal, because it's like, man, if I was just trying to go out there and sell records without a goal, it's just not motivational enough for me. So it's like I need to set a goal. I got to set a big goal that I can get excited about. And so that's where the 300 records came in. And Olympus, I thought it was a cool number. It's like Spartan. At the beginning of this, I dropped a freestyle called the Spartan Freestyle, which was 300 bars. Go check that out on my YouTube. I only dropped it on my YouTube. That was just a crazy writing experience in itself. um but the generosity of people, and there's too many people to even name on this podcast. I've talked about the moon. I've talked about um, Brooke and Canvas, but there's been so many people who just gave out straight donations. It was like, man, you're doing something. This is cool. Much love. We praying for y'all. We're sending positive vibes, and it's just a beautiful thing, man. It's just a beautiful thing. It was a vulnerable thing to come out and say and do, and there was, it's interesting that, and I know I've already talked about it in past podcasts. I'm not gonna focus on like the negativity of it, but whenever you're doing something that sparks emotion, it's not always going to be positive, and um, it's not always going to be all negative either. So it was just an interesting ride, lots of ups and downs, but we made enough money to kind of get through the next few months and get something else figured out. So that's super cool. And there was a bunch of people that messaged me, like my homegirl Patricia. We were talking, and she was thinking about, it's like, hey, maybe you should do a concert, silent auction. You got a bunch of homies in business. They could donate some of their products and services. So I'm thinking, I'm thinking about doing that. I really haven't been performing in a long time, and uh, I've been contemplating doing an album release party for Olympus and Olympus 2. But I've also been thinking about not doing that and waiting to start performing again once I drop the next album, when I start the rollout for the next album, which is Mr. J and the Heartbroken Homies, because I just am really focused on getting music out, getting more music done. I used to really like the performance part, and I still do, but I really like making the music part. That's and I think um I'm working on some stuff that I think will be really cool live. And I think there will be a time where I come back and I do a lot of live shows again. Because I'm going to have a much better live show, and it's going to be like a package thing, and it's going to be it's going to be cool. And, like when I was even performing in the Toga, I just like to have a thing attached to the performance that's, not just a dude with a mic on a stage, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, the music should speak for itself, the talent should speak for itself, but I'm also an artist. I like to do things different. Anyway, so I can't say enough great things. And I've already personally thanked everyone who's kind of donated and everything. So but this is another thank you to anyone's watching who donated or bought a vinyl or shared the post, liked the post, comment. All those things really made such a positive impact, and has been so positive. So I can't wait to get everyone their vinyls. I can't wait to get the vinyls myself. um Everyone should have them before the end of the year. Olympus and Olympus 2 should be released by the end of the year if everything goes accordingly. Nothing is quite set in stone yet. I'll wait until I have the vinyls and then they're sent off before I actually announce the release date of those things. I mean, technically, you can buy. All right. So, one of the questions I was asked recently was how was the fundraiser, and and what's next. And the what's next part is what I'm working on right now. We're trying to sell more music. I'm gonna drop Olympus 2, which will be a much cheaper thing to buy. I'm thinking about only dropping it for about $5, and so it's super accessible. Because I know the vinyl being $100 is quite a bit, but it's because it's going to be a limited edition thing. When I was first selling them, they were only $42, and they're already now $100. So I'm telling you, it's going to be one of those collectible things that it's going to go up in value over time, I think, because man, it's cool. It's cool. Trust me. Trust me. And so once I get the vinyls, we'll have, uh, a couple more dozen vinyls on hand to sell. So we'll try to get those sold ASAP too. And then the Olympus 2, we're also going to be trying to sell some music to sync. We've been talking to lots of libraries and stuff like that. So lots of things in the work behind the scenes. Because of this fundraiser, it's allowed us, some more time to get things figured out. So that will be super exciting. And yeah, we'll just kind of see what comes over the next couple of weeks. Still putting out the daily vlogs. We're almost at a year of doing the OMAD videos. I'm getting pretty close to that 175. I've been consistently under the 190 pounds. So that's super cool. I've been eating one meal a day for 320 something days. Let's just say 330 days. So we got, just over a month left. So this is the big push to get to that 175. And yeah, so I'll go into my next birthday in November being shredded, getting the vinyls out. It's beautiful. Hitting goals. Better art and healthy people will change the world, but it starts with myself first. So super exciting. Lots of beautiful, loving momentum, feeling loved, feeling supported. So that's super, super dope. The fundraiser was a success and a failure at the same time. Did I hit my goal of 300 records? Nah, and that's ultimately a failure in that regard. But, you know, I think you need to set huge goals. And, so many people are afraid to set goals because they hate failing. And don't get me wrong, so do I. But I'm such an optimist that even through the failure, I'm like, okay, we learned this. This is what went good. This is what went bad. This is what we can improve on. This is this and that. I just didn't. I just have what there's only so much that you can control, and hindsight is always 2020. It's just like the doing of the things is what's the most important, and setting goals and pushing yourself and striving for more and having good intentions. And because that's another thing too, is even with this fundraiser, people took it the wrong way, which I don't know how you could, but people did. And that's out of my control. That's out of my everything. I was like, I have beautiful intentions with this. I was just being real, authentic, and honest. And that's just what happens in the world. And so it's like, to judge myself for things like that, it's just like, what's the point? Um, I had dozens and dozens of people buy the record. I had dozens and dozens of beautiful messages, and I only had a handful of haters. So it's been beautiful. And so super encouraging to keep making music, and working with these music supervisors and the music libraries and the sync world, and getting lots of positive feedback about the records. It's just really I oof, my stomach is a grumbling. I'm a little hungry today. That's sometimes what happens with the fasting, is some days you're hungrier than others. I did work out a whole lot yesterday, and didn't eat a whole ton of food, just because yesterday was super busy. So I'm a little hungrier today than usual, but that's neither here nor there. I've also been really into fucking matcha lately, man. It was a cold brew summer for me, but now I don't know what it is. I went on a coffee date with this chick, and she got me a matcha. Delicious, man. Delicious. I don't usually buy Starbucks and whatever, but every once in a while, man, it's a nice little treat. Um, I know I've been talking for a minute. Let me see how long I've been chatting with this. Oh, beautiful. We're doing good. So yeah, fundraisers were beautiful. Shout out to all the people that's supporting. That being said, yes, you can still pre-order the vinyl. 100% you can still. It's on the website. You can pre-order. And yeah, it's so it's never too late. It's just that push for the fundraiser is over, but we're still trying to sell. And there will only ever be in my entire career 1,000 of these made. And people are hyped. People want autographs. People want. It reminds me of when I dropped my very first album, Life. There was this, like, people wanted autographs, and people just can't wait to have it. And it's just nice, man. It's just encouraging, and it feels good to have something that I've created. And one thing as an artist too is, it's just all these albums are just like milestones of a time and a place in my life. And it's like, when I think about life, I think about that time. And now Olympus is going to be the next section of time, and then Mr. J and the Heartbroken Homies will be another one. So it's an interesting part as an artist to have these records. So yeah, there's also right now on my website, if you really want to listen to Olympus, and because so many people ask me for the digital copy, but this album is meant to be on vinyl. That's just always what my intent was with this project for some reason. And but I listen to the people, and they're like, yo, Jay, we want a digital version. So there's a digital version for $10,000 on my website. Link in the description or whatever. primepurposemovement.ca or .com/shop. And you can check it out. $10,000. You would be the first person, other than my mom and some of the people on the album who have listened to the album. So, or who have worked on the album that have listened to the album. So, um, it's out there. It's out there. It's out there. Cause it's like, bruh, I was like, if I'm gonna compromise on my artistic vision, I'm gonna need to get paid from it. That's just what it is, you know. Cause it's like, man, it's just what's in my heart that it needs to be on vinyl and vinyl only. And so, for 10 grand, you can have it yourself, man. It's a flex, and it's to support, and you know it really supports me. So please go buy the digital version of Olympus right now on my website. That being said, Olympus 2 will also be on my website as soon as it's done being mixed and mastered. So Road to Olympus, which is a mixtape that I released online, 90% of those songs I mixed and mastered myself. A couple of them Andrew Menzak did, and there's a couple songs on Olympus 2 that Andrew produced as well and mixed. And but the rest of it I've mixed and mastered or I've produced, mixed and mastered, written myself, and will mix and master. And then there's another song by another producer. So I like these projects where I dive back in and I learn the skills of mixing and mastering. And then because I'm not the best mixing or mastering engineer, but it's just another skill to be learning over time. And so it will be cool to have this project and now compare it to Road to Olympus, which I did very similar things to. So it's like, okay, am I improving? It's been a couple years, blah blah blah, all that. So be on the lookout for Olympus 2. There'll be a huge announcement. There'll be all kinds of stuff. Um, yeah, and then on my website you'll have Olympus 2. That'll be very affordable, like $5, maybe $10. And then I might also throw it on iTunes. And then there will be Olympus, the vinyl you can pick up now. And then there's the Olympus digital version too. So all kinds of stuff, tons and tons of music, lots more music coming. And yeah. Okay. That being said, we're going to move into. Oh, I gotta. Okay, yeah. This is what I had to. This was crazy. So me, Brandon, and my homie Andrew, we went to a comedy show Friday night at the Moon. Shout out the Moon. Shout out Trish's Asylum. Shout out Trish. Shout out Dave. Shout out Nick Von Dub. Um, I love that. Love that place. Love that show. Love everything. And so we leaving the venue. We smoking weed, having a good time. And I was like, "Hey, bro, let's go hit up the McDonald's." I got myself 40 nuggets. I have an 1 meal a day video on it. Anyways, but we pulling up to this to McDonald's drive through, and I see, and it's late. It's like 11:30, pitch black outside, and I'm like, hmm. I'm like, hmm. What are all those women standing in a circle in the parking lot? Like, I'm telling you, there's 20 or there's 12, 15 women all dressed the same. All dressed the same. All these white women dressed in like all black with brown scarves. Or like a shawl, maybe scarf, shawl. I couldn't really tell. But they all in the middle of this parking lot. The McDonald's is over here. There's a bunch of empty spaces and there's cars parked all over. You know, the McDonald's is popping. And there's just this group of ladies standing in this huge circle, like not even like close, like they're kind of spread out. And I'm like, bro, look at all those women over there. And Brandon's like, oh, yeah, whatever. I was like, huh, that's weird. And I can see that we pull it up to the drive-through, and the one dude is trying to look too, but you can't really see it from the drive-through. You had to drive through it, or you had to drive by them. And me and Brandon waiting in line, and he didn't really look at them. And I'm explaining, I was like, bro, they were like dressed the same and everything. And he's like, what? I was like, you didn't just see that big group of women I just pointed out? He's like, oh man, I didn't really. You should have said they were dressed all the same. And I was like, yeah, man, they in this big circle, dressed all the same, wearing a scarf, black scarf, brown scarf. And he's like, what? You just saw a group of witches, bro. I was like, bruh, maybe, maybe, maybe. So we get our food. I was like, bro, you have to go check. You have to see them. We drive back, parking lot's empty. And we weren't even in McDonald's. We weren't even in McDonald's for very long. We were in and out, you know. We were flowing. That McDonald's was flowing. And I was like, what? What? Brandon was all freaked out. It was gnarly, bro. It was motherfucking gnarly. Anyways, I gotta say, oh, there's a couple things I'm gonna touch base on all of this. So that earlier that night at the Moon, before the show started, me and Andrew Brand, we smoking, we chilling, we chatting, and we're talking about because it was just Andrew's birthday a little while ago, and he's talking about getting messed up at his birthday, drinking, sipping, you know, and we were kind of contemplating, you know, where we've been the most messed up, you know, weird places. Like, you know, last year, and I've talked about this lots of times, I got really drunk at my sister's wedding. I already don't drink very often, but I drank at her wedding, and it messed me up. But one of the times where I was the most hungover, I was at I threw up at West Edmonton Mall, and I threw up. And Andrew was even, because Brandon and Andrew used to work at Sport Check, or no, Foot Locker at West Edmonton Mall. So there was, back in high school and just after high school, you know, I would go pick up Brandon or something after work. So I would go into Foot Locker or whatever, say what's up, because a couple of the homies worked there, you know. So while they were, I would drop in, say what up, pick up Brandon, you know, ain't nothing. But there was times where I was super hungover in that fucking Foot Locker, you know, and this was one of them. And I remember we go to this Foot Locker. I think we had to bus there, and I was so hungover. And we get to the Foot Locker, chatting it up with the homies, and I'm like, I have to throw up right now. Where's the bathroom? And they're like, man, it's like blah 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 blah. You know, I'm in the middle of a mall, and I'm like, oh shit. I run out of the Foot Locker, kind of don't really know where I'm going. And as soon as I like turn, I run into an old friend who I haven't seen in a while. And she was like, hey, Jordan, blah, 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 what, blah, 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 blah. You know, she's catching up, and I'm sitting there like, I'm trying not to be rude. I'm super hungover. I'm about to throw up. And I'm like, yes, hi, how are you? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. I gotta go. I run a little bit further, and I'm like, I'm not gonna make it to the bathroom. And it's like a weekend, a Saturday at West Edmonton Mall. You know, West Edmonton Mall is bumping. And I see a garbage can, and I'm like, thank God, at least there's a garbage can. I go towards it. Like I'm to get it, I'm trying to get it in, and I can't even make it in. I threw up all over the garbage can. All over and there's people all around me. And I throw up, and I don't know what to do, and I panic, and I run out of the mall. I just run. I just ditch. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know who to call. I'm so embarrassed. I'm just like, oh man. So that was the worst time. I think that's the worst. I think that's the worst. But Andrew's like, you gotta talk about this. You gotta talk about this. And his question, I wrote it down word for word, is the hindering experience of getting hammered with friends worth wrecking the body now and then? And this is an interesting question because I think it's really for who and for what. And a lot of those things, to me, yes. I think if you're doing it occasionally, I got funny stories. I got great experiences. Yes, it's poison, and yes, it's killing you, and yes, it's not good for you. But used in moderation, I think and even for me, for instance, moderation has changed drastically for me. Drastically, like it's got to be something like my sister's wedding or something for me to have more than even a drink. But most of the time, I don't even order. I won't get a cocktail or have a beer, or like when I was doing a bunch of hard labor with my homie, and one day in the summer, and he was like, "You want to have a beer?" Or he's like, "Let's have a beer when we get back to the crib." It's like that's I had a beer, and that was it. Just after a long day of work in the hot sun. So there's just like the times where it not calls for it, because my vice of choice is definitely cannabis and caffeine. Caffeine is definitely a vice as well. There are positive benefits, but mm, God, I'm real into the matcha right now. It's delicious. So to me, because that's the thing, man, is it's poison and it is killing you, and it's not good for you. It's not good for your body. It's not good for your brain. I'm not condoning the use of alcohol, and I think sobriety for a lot of people is an important part of their life as well. So I think there's a two-way street to look at this. But for me, I think occasionally to have I had the time of my life at my sister's wedding. The next 2 days were brutal, brutal for me. Brutal. I can't even thinking about it makes me just not want to drink ever again. And also, now that they got all these like weed drinks and stuff, that's really, what does it. Maybe at Christmas or have a drink or two on my birthday, but I'd rather smoke some herb. But I think again, occasionally for the vibe, I think 100, 100. I can't even remember the last time I had alcohol. Damn, I can't even remember. That's interesting actually. I would say months. I would say months. Months I haven't had alcohol for. Months. I can't even remember the last time I would have drank. Hmm. Interesting. But yeah, great question. So let me know what your is the hindering experience of getting hammered worth with friends worth uh wrecking the body now and then? I would say yes. I would say yes. Um but it's the now and then that's important. Yeah. I think we'll end the podcast there. I think we kind of touched on a lot of the oh no. There's one more big topic I wanted to talk about. Uh, I have a really good friend, and she's an artist. She's an artist in BC, and she's awesome. And she'll send me really cool artistic things, like dance things or graphic design things. She's a hairstylist, but she's also just a model. She does all kinds of things, and she's so creative. She's such a skilled artist too, so skilled. I'm a huge fan, and she sent me this dancing video. These two, one male, one female, and they were dancing, and they're like, it's like that new Megan Thee Stallion song. The it's in Japanese or whatever. I don't know the lyrics, you know. The kashiwasa nasema you know that one? It's everywhere. Anyways, and they're kind of like, it's kind of like hip hoppy, but they ballet. It's super cool. They're super talented, and she sends me, and I was just like, damn, this is sick. You know, I have a thing for people that can dance, like, you know, on a real. It's like people who do comedy. I'm like, damn, y'all got this. Y'all are this. When it comes to dancing, unless that's the only time I will usually dance, is if I'm really, really drunk. I just, I don't know. When it comes to dancing, it's just not my thing. And I was telling her that, and she's like, you should do a dance challenge. And I was like, and this was a couple days ago. She also gave me this. If you haven't seen it on Netflix, yes, it's called Chaos. It's with Jeff Goldblum. She loves Jeff Goldblum too, which is hilarious. I only watched the first episode, and I'm like, I gotta freaking, this is the shit. It's about Greek. It's like if Greek mythology was modern. Like Jeff Goldblum. I don't want to wreck anything. It's the show. I'm only one episode in, and I'm like, this is sick. This is sick. Because I always thought Greek mythology, it's so wild. If you look at what all the gods are doing, and oh, they kill it, man. This new show, Chaos, with Jeff Goldblum, crazy. I can't wait actually to get all my work done and working out and everything, so I can smoke up and watch that show tonight, man. Because it's so good. It's so good. Anyways, I say all of this to say she's like, you should do like a 30-day dance thing. Cause I was even telling her, I was like, I know you can dance and move well. And I just like, you know, I'm not that loosey goosey like that, you know? Loosey goosey. Anyways. And so she's like, yo, this is gonna be a way better challenge than like you sitting in a dark room for 3 days. And I was like, lol. It's like, you right, but to me this one's way, you know, I'd rather sit in 3 days of dark. Nah, that was rough. Go watch the first episode of the podcast again. That was a hard time. So I'm thinking about doing a 30-day dance challenge. And she even messaged me. I can't remember what I said to her, and she messaged me. She's like, "But are you dancing though?" And I'm like, "Damn." So, stay tuned. Jay might start dancing. Oh, what a statement that is! I don't know if I'm comfortable with even saying that. And so yeah, so that might be a thing. We'll see. That might be a new challenge, or whatever. On top of that, we'll end on this because it's just a nice thing to end on. I've been yeah, like I've been saying, lots of really long walks. I usually get up early. The last few days, the last, you know, whatever, 4 or 5 days, I've just been really, really tired for whatever reason. And but last week, you know, I was getting up at like 5:30, 6 o'clock and going for walks. Go for a nice long walk first thing in the morning. And you know, there's a lot of like Middle Eastern guys dressed to the nines, you know, with their gorgeous turbans and nice outfits at like 6:30 in the morning. You know, I kind of got whatever on, going for a walk, whatever I can just throw on and go for a walk outside just to get my ass. These guys are all put together, all nice, you know, and we walk in and we walk in different paths, but you can tell they're all from the neighborhood because I see them all the time. And they're also going on long walks. So, you know, we wave to each other, we say good morning, and you know, um, a lot of them seem to meet up too. A lot of these dudes seem to meet up. I see them on park benches and stuff. So it's like I always am walking around saying, "Hey guys, what's up? What's up?" You know. But one morning, the one dude who's always walking with a big group of dudes is walking by himself, and I'm just like, "Hey man, good morning." And we're walking by, and he stops, and he doesn't speak. This guy doesn't speak very good English, and he's pointing at my head, and he's like, "This is good. This is good." And I was like, "What's good?" And he's like, your hair. It's long. It's strong. It's beautiful." I was like, "What?" It's like this old Middle Eastern dude is like I guess East Asian. Is Middle East Asian? Anyways, he's pointing and he's like, "Gorgeous, you know, good hair. This is good. Keep it. It's good." And I don't know what it was. You know, I was like, "Oh, thank you." And now I was trying to talk to him like, "Oh, where are you from?" Like he's like, "Oh, no. You know, like he was just trying to say that he doesn't really understand, doesn't really talk." And he's like, "Good hair, good." And then he walks away, and I was just like, "Man, what a thank you, you know, thanks, bro." I don't know. It's just like it was a nice moment. I thought I would share it. Anyways, this has been a fun podcast. I'm hyped to. I don't know. I just feel like I'm in a nice. You know, we're coming into the fall. It seems like things are refreshed, and I don't know. I'm in a good place, and a lot of it's thanks to everyone who's watching, listening, who's donating. Again, thank you to everyone who's done the fundraiser and supported in all the ways that you could support. So thank you so much. Yeah, y'all are awesome. Y'all the best. More love, more success. This has been A Moment with Jay.
I just wanted to hop on the mic and say, I know the world been a little chaotic and everything. I just wanted to check and make sure everything good in the hood, like sure, you know what I mean? Say hi to the fam. Okay, let's get to work. What up? Stay dreaming, scheming, homie. Don't let the haters weigh you down. Smoke a split to lit you up. Know the world in your favor now. Woo! Know the world in your favor. Just like that.